Damn right. And you're gonna make a difference.
This one comes with a basic sort of digital package.
Hey, you can make money off my name, make it, okay?
You got the power to change lives, Roy.
Hello and welcome to the Barry J. McDonald podcast. If you're interested in creating your own digital product or just want to learn more, you're in the right place. Whether you're just starting out or have been working on your digital product for a while, we hope that our podcast will provide valuable insights and inspiration to help you on your journey. Take it away, Barry.
Hi, this is Barry here, and you are very, very welcome to today's podcast episode. Now, today's podcast episode, we're going to have a look at working smarter and not harder. Now, I was originally thinking of maybe doing some time management strategies in this podcast episode, but I think people who buy those books on time management or watch those videos have this belief that, whatever content they're watching or reading, it's going to give them extra time back in their day, that they're going to gain an extra hour, that they're going to wake up tomorrow morning and they're going to have 25 hours in their day. But it's not going to happen. So rather than you managing your time, what I would say to you is to value your time more. Look at the time you have and ask yourself, how can I get more value out of this time? How can I make the time I have more productive? How can I wring the most from this 5 minutes, half an hour that I might have today? Now, if you forget everything in this podcast episode, I want you to remember this thing that I have learned from the great Ben Settle. Now, I was listening to his podcast episode one day, and he said that he asked himself a question which has really helped him with his business. And that is simply to ask yourself, what is the best use of my time right now? Now, I'm sure if you ask yourself that question, you'll probably find that 99 times out of 100, you're not doing the best thing with your time that day. You'll find that you're probably being a busy fool. You'll probably find that you're worried about the font that you have on your social media post, or you're worrying about maybe the color combinations you have on your blog, or you're over on TikTok and you feel that you need to watch all the videos on a particular topic. Is that the best use of your time? Now, sometimes that can be the best use of your time, but I'm sure if you're really honest, you'll probably agree that it's not. Now, if you ask yourself that question, what is the best use of my time? You will find that it actually works for you away from your laptop. Because, for example, maybe if you're at the dentist or the doctor's, you're sitting in the appointment room and you're asking yourself, what is the best use of my time right now? You'll probably find that you're not going to pick up the gossip magazine and leaf through it and just read all about the latest celebrity news. No, you'll probably turn on your smartphone, you'll probably maybe get the Kindle app, and then you'll probably read some book that's going to fill your head with knowledge or learn some skills. Or maybe you'll open the notepad and you'll come up with maybe some email ideas, maybe some video ideas, maybe possible ideas for products or something like that. So even though you're away from the laptop, you can use that simple question to make yourself more productive. So what is the best use of my time? Is what I'm doing right now the best thing that I can be doing? Now, I could give you all the places that you're probably wasting time, because there are probably a lot of places where I waste time too. But I'm not going to do that, because if you're honest, you know exactly how you waste time, how much time you waste, and what you're doing that you shouldn't be doing. So, you need to be honest with yourself right now. You need to be asking yourself, well, is what I'm doing the best use of my time? Or am I just, doing this mindless scroll on social media? Now, what I would say to you is, if you are looking to work smarter and not harder, one of the first things I would say to you is to prioritize your work. Now, if you're looking to build an online business, if you're looking to make money from home, if you're looking to tell your boss to go stick his 9-to-5 job where the sun doesn't shine, you need to prioritize it. It's got to be important. Now, that doesn't mean it's more important than your kids or your family or whatever. They are important. But if it is important to you, it should come first of all in your day. It should be the first thing you do when you get out of bed. Again, this is something I learned from Ben Settle, was to get your work done first of all. Because if the rest of the day falls apart, if the kids get sick, if the car breaks down, if some drama, happens later on in the day, you'll find that if you say, well, I'm going to do my work later on in the day, sometimes those moments are taken up and you don't have it because some emergency, some drama, something happens. But if you get your work done first thing in the morning, it means the rest of the day, if it just all goes crazy, if everything falls apart, you've still got your work done. So think about prioritizing your work. How important is your dream or your goal of your business? And if it is so important to you, well, then you should be moving it closer to the start of the day, when you can get that work done and when you are mentally at your freshest, that you're putting all your, after a good night's sleep, that you're full of energy, full of ideas, and focusing all your work there rather than giving all that work, all that effort over to somewhere else, maybe a 9-to-5 job or whatever. So prioritize your work and get it done first thing. Another thing I would say to you is time blocking and scheduling some time. Again, time blocking is really great. Well, maybe you just dedicate half an hour to solely focus on whatever it is you need to do. So for this hour, you're going to do social media posts, or you're going to do a couple of blog posts, or you're going to do a couple of podcast episodes. But what I would recommend if you are, doing time blocking, make sure you're only working on the one activity in that hour. So for example, if I was going to maybe dedicate an hour to time blocking, I'd probably focus on podcast episodes. I try and get as many podcast episodes as I can done in an hour. I wouldn't instead do maybe a podcast episode, a social media post, and maybe a blog post. I wouldn't, try and cram the three of those in an hour. Not that I couldn't maybe possibly do that, but the reason I wouldn't do it is because when you change from one activity to another, on to another, there's a delay between one and the other. Because if you're recording podcast episode, your mind is set up that way. You're in podcast mode. You're only using certain parts of your brain to record the podcast. I'm not worried about moving my hands. I'm not worried about spelling. I'm simply just talking to this microphone. But if I stop that and then go over and do a social media post, then I need to open up another part of my brain. I need to come up with creative ideas. I need to come up with something witty. I need to think about, well, what is a catchy title I can put on this post? How can I attract people's attention? So then suddenly I'm moving over to other parts of my brain. So there's going to be delay from my brain going from podcast mode over to social media post mode. And then from the social media post mode over to blog post mode, there's going to be delay between those two. Again, my mind, if I'm thinking of a blog post, I'm probably thinking of what will I write about today. Again, when I'm writing, I'm going to be worrying about my spelling and my, how it sounds and editing the post and everything. So again, moving into that part, I'm opening up another part of my brain. So my brain needs to change whatever it was doing in social media mode. It's gone on to blog post mode. But there will be a delay between those. And that's time wasted. Whereas if you solely focus on one thing, you'll find that you'll be able to do podcast episodes one after the other. Social media posts one after the other. A blog post or two, one after the other. Because your mind is going down that route. It's in the right mode. But if you jump from one to the other, you're going to lose time. You're not going to be as productive. And you're not going to be able to do your best content. You're not going to be able to do your best work that way. Again, another thing you do is the Pomodoro technique. Now, this was something that I used to use when I used to do fiction writing. And that was simply just setting up my stopwatch and setting it to 25 minutes. And then for those 25 minutes, I didn't lift my head up from the laptop. I didn't look left. I didn't look right. I didn't even think about editing whatever I was doing at the time. I simply just said to myself, Barry, try and write as many words as you can in the next 25 minutes. And then when the 25 minutes was up, the alarm rang, and then I gave myself 5 or 10 minutes to get up, walk around, put on a cup of coffee, go to the toilet, whatever I need to do, just to kind of free my head up for the next session. And then after those 10 minutes, I could go back again for another 25 minutes, and then again, try and get as many words down as I could. So, as you can see there, like in an hour, that will be 50 minutes of really focused writing. Now, in 25 minutes, you might be surprised how much work you actually get focused on, or how much work you get done, because you're so focused for those 25 minutes. There's no distractions there. Nothing matters. The house could go on fire, but you're just solely looking at that laptop screen for the next 25 minutes. So even though you might think, well, I haven't got much time, I've only got half an hour of my day to work on my online business, if you set something like that up, you'd probably find you get a lot of work done in such a short space of time. And you might find that maybe if you do have more time, that when you actually try this technique out, you'll probably ask yourself, well, what the hell was I doing with all my time when I could get so much done in 25 minutes? So give that a go if you want to as well too. Try the Pomodoro technique out. And again, you can set it for 25 minutes if you want to. You can set it for half an hour. But there is a kind of a cut-off point where your brain needs to step back. It needs to take a rest. It needs to recharge. But you might find that maybe if you go beyond 25 minutes that, it mightn't be as useful for you. But try it out and see how you get on. Another thing I would say to you is to delegate and outsource your tasks, because sometimes we can't get it all done ourselves. Sometimes we need to maybe buy a piece of software and automate something that it runs on its own and it takes some of that work off us. Or sometimes we need to maybe hire somebody who's better at the job than we are. Maybe if you have a blog, maybe you say to yourself, well, I'm not the best at writers. Maybe it might be worth your while maybe hiring a writer to maybe write some of the content for you. Or maybe if you are maybe creating online digital courses, maybe you might be better off maybe hiring somebody to write your sales letters. Maybe you need somebody to take that work off you who could probably write a better sales letter than you, but it gives you more time back in your day where you don't have to worry about the sales letters. All you need to do is worry on creating the products. And that is the part of the production line that you simply work on, and everything else takes care of itself. Now, what I would say to you is to be aware that if you delegate or outsource tasks, be aware that when that does free up time, don't fill that time up with doing silly stuff again. Instead of maybe being a busy fool again, thinking, well, I've got an extra hour in my day, I don't need to do all those different things, I'm going to work on this part of my business. Thinking that, that extra hour is going to be a productive hour. But again, it could be a total waste of your time. Or probably a better thing to do with that delegating and outsourcing is rather than, thinking about all the extra time you have now to do extra activities, is actually looking the opposite way and asking yourself, well, what more can I give away? What more can I outsource? How can I do less in my day and get more work done? And if you try and come up with more ways of doing less in your day, you're going to find that the value of your hour will go up because you're getting more value out of your hour. But if you go the opposite way and add extra hours of work on, you probably see that your hourly value probably drops because, again, you're kind of going down the old route of doing stupid things that aren't worth your while. But if you go the opposite way, you'll probably find that your value goes up. So bear in mind, as I said, if you forget everything in this podcast episode, is simply just to remember the two things that I heard from the great Ben Settle. And that is to simply ask yourself this question and do it regularly in your day. Ask yourself, is this the best use of my time? And if this thing is so important to me, well then it should be done at the start of the day. And just keeping those two things in mind will do far more for you than any time management book or whatever out there, the secret, whatever that's going to give you so many hours back in your day. Simply just remember those two questions will make you far, far more productive. It's going to allow you to work smarter and not harder. Have a lovely day. Bye-bye.
Discover how to finally make money while you sleep. Click on the link in the show notes now for your free copy of Digital Cash. Thanks for listening and we'll see you in the next episode.